It's, can a Catholic date another Catholic who has been divorced but has not yet had an annulment?
Well, to put it kind of plainly, and I'll look to explain here a little bit, hopefully this will be helpful. The answer would be no, they may not. Okay.
All right.
So tell us why. Give us some background there, Father.
Okay. Well, yes. All right. You might be legally divorced, right? Which our secular culture considers as when a marriage is over, but not so in the eyes of the church, right? A marriage is not dissolved or over until a Catholic has received a degree of nullity or an annulment from the church. And so until this happens, and this process can take some time, could be a year or so, but until this happens, you have to presume that they're married, right? That the marriage is intact, and so therefore they really are not to date anyone, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And now, once a Catholic is legally divorced, they're no longer considered to be married in the eyes of the state, right? Our secular culture, but they're still going to be considered married in the eyes of the church unless and until they have received that annulment. And we have to be mindful, okay? Annulments are not just Catholic divorce, right? So there is never really a guarantee that an annulment's going to be granted until the investigation is completed, until the witness have been contacted, and until that process has all gone through, and shouldn't be rushed. It needs to be done carefully, lovingly, prayerfully. This is we need to allow the church to, as a loving mother, look into the situation and make a decision. Now, of course, a Catholic who is legally divorced but not annulled, they are called upon to maintain a life of chastity, appropriate to their state of life as a married man or woman, legally separated from their spouse, okay? And the church would consider civil divorce the equivalent of a legal separation. And to otherwise, as long as they stay in a state of grace, they can continue to receive the sacraments, okay? But again, once an annulment's granted, then and only then will that Catholic be free to date. Again, assuming that we understand dating. Dating is right for those who are intending to marry.
Good, thank you. I was going to ask you to talk about dating itself.
Right, and unless the church has granted that annulment, that person is not in a position to be courting another person. They are still married in the eyes of the church, right? So again, to date another without an annulment would be in effect considered an act of adultery, and in disobedience with the commandments of God and the precepts of the church. So again, the person may not be aware of that, but we should be aware of that, and they're not eligible to date, really. They shouldn't be putting themselves out there in that way, as difficult and challenging as that might be, right? And again, it is going to stand in the face of a lot of what the world might say or consider and that, but we want to be respectful, right, of our faith and recognize it's right. It's a God thing, right? He gets to say what is marriage, what is not marriage, when am I in a place to be able to put myself there as a marriageable person or not. So